hands up, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you all right here. I've actually never been really a big fan of the idea of Richard Madden as James Bond. Now, don't get me wrong, Richard Madden is without doubt an amazing actor. Like so many of us, I discovered him through the show Game of Thrones and have watched him in many other things since. One of the things I really actually highly recommend watching him in is this great spy thriller he actually did with Idris Elba called The Take. That was a really great spy film, and I really did enjoy it. And I've seen him in many other things, like The Bodyguard and Eternals, and a little bit he did in the film 1917, which was really great. He just popped up every now and then. He's always been a part of great stuff, and I always know when I watch him, I'm always going to be entertained by him. But I've just honestly never really quite seen him as James Bond. While so many others have really been like, yeah, he'd be great as James Bond, I could totally see him as James Bond, yet The Bodyguard convinced me, I've never really been fully able to jump on the bandwagon. It's just when I think of actors who I'd like to see James Bond, honestly, Richard Madden never really appears on that list for the most part. But I understand he does have quite a following for him to become James Bond. Now, even though he's never been precisely, if you will, my favourite or been one of my top candidates, he is a really great actor, and he does have a massive following of people wanting him to be James Bond. Maybe those who, after seeing him in Game of Thrones or The Bodyguard, tipped them over the edge. He has got a great following, and he is a great actor, and I feel it would be amiss not to discuss, I think, my potential reasons why he could actually be a great James Bond, because truth of the matter is, he does have some great reasons, and there is a legitimate ground for him to become the next James Bond. And that is one of the things that I want to discuss here on the channel. So this is going to be my reasons why I think Richard Madden should become the next James Bond. But before we get into that, everyone, can I also ask you, if you haven't already, do consider giving us a subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and if you can help us get there, it would be immensely thankful. Don't forget also to like and comment on the video and watch all other future videos on the channel. It really does help. But now, with all that being said, let's get into my reasons why I think Richard Madden should become the next James Bond. My first reason would be is, as we all know, James Bond as the character is a very multi-layered, very in-depth character, and Richard Madden has shown throughout his whole career he has a real gift and talent for doing characters like that. If you just look over his portfolio of work, such as, Rob Stark, and again in The Bodyguard, and so many other things, even very much so in Marvel's Eternals, he really has a knack of playing these really deep characters. You don't need to say much, but show the emotion. And tell me if not, but that does sound like great Bond material to me. So as I mentioned just a little bit earlier, the character of James Bond is very complicated, and you really, I feel, need an actor who can sometimes say it verbally, like Pierce Brosnan did a bit in Goldeneye with It's What Keeps Me Alive. But you also really want an actor who can really dramatically show it just through the look of their eyes, their actions, their movements, how they hold themselves. A bit like how Daniel Craig did a lot in his tenure. And that's another reason why I get potentially excited about Richard Madden becoming James Bond, because he has shown, again, throughout his whole career, how he handles himself, how he moves, how he shows himself, how he really does, if you will, change his body position and movements and style of his personality in his performances really well. Why I, again, get excited that he could really breathe life and inhabit that conflicted character that is James Bond. My next reason is one of the biggest reasons I have for anyone I've always recommended to become James Bond, is that he is a great ambassador for any franchise he's in. One of the things I really loved about Roger Moore after he became James Bond was how he was such a great ambassador for the Bond franchise. He really was like one of those people you could rely on, James Bond franchise, oh, that's connected with Sir Roger Moore, and he really elevated and promoted it and weared it with pride. And Richard Madden has a history of doing that as well. Whether it being Game of Thrones or The Bodyguard or Eternals, he very much was always someone who never stopped praising it, shouting about it, and being proud of being connected with something. And that's a quality I want for an actor who's going to become the next James Bond. Daniel Craig, very famously, he wasn't very good with press and stuff like that, but we forgave him because he was so good in the role. But I would love to have someone, again, who not only is a great spokesman and head of the franchise and talks about it so well, like Richard Madden does, but someone again who, like Roger Moore, after he's finished, still being such a great spokesman and a voice for it and publicising it and praising it. And I know if Richard Madden was cast as James Bond, he would be that sort of person. So that's a really big thumbs up, in my opinion, for the direction of getting Richard Madden in as James Bond. I want that potential spokesman, that person to replace Roger Moore, and I think Richard Madden could definitely be that person if he was cast, would do that. My next reason would be that he does suit the type that Bond producers generally look for. Generally, Bond producers, whether it being Albert R. Cubby Broccoli or Barbara and Michael, they've always looked for that person who's that rising star. Maybe he has done some films in the past, maybe he's been the head of a TV show in the past, but he's never been a big international movie star head lead actor. He could have been in big stuff in the past, but he's never been the front line. He's the headliner, the male lead, and that is exactly the position Richard Madden is in. He's known to be associated with great quality work like Game of Thrones or the MCU, but he's never been the actual head, and this is where Barbara and Michael could get very, very excited about him. I see the Bond series as a great platform for Richard Madden to become a new international superstar and head of a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and he could potentially fit the bill. He is in the exact right position in his career that they would take notice of and think he is in the right moment in his life to become the next James Bond and do James Bond films for a long period of time. We could potentially see another 5 run with Richard Madden. Heck, I think at least minimum 3. And it excites me to think that he is actually in that prime position, maybe like a couple of years ago Tom Hardy was. Richard Madden is definitely in that position, and I think he's in the best time ever in his whole career, that if he was going to become James Bond, now is the right time, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm going to add a little weird one here for my next one. It's nothing really that important, but I'm going to be honest, it would be really nice to have a Scot playing Bond again. Now, very famously in the past, James Bond was written very much as an English gentleman with a very much a darker edge. And when Sean Connery was cast, it's well known and well documented, he wasn't really a fan of it. He felt he looked too brutish, like a thug, where he really wanted more of a gentleman playing James Bond. But Ian Fleming really grew to actually like Sean Connery and really love his portrayal of it, so much so that in his current book he was writing on Her Majesty's Secret Service, he actually did change Bond's heritage to actually have a Scottish descendancy, and that I think is actually really cool and just shows the awesomeness that was Sean Connery. But getting back here quickly to Richard Madden, I'm not gonna lie, we've had, Irishmans, we've had Welshmans, we've even had Australians play James Bond, and I think it would actually be sort of just in a weird way quite nice that maybe we could have another Scot playing James Bond. I do think actually very much full-heartedly that Scotland produced some of the most amazing actors of all time. I really do firmly believe that. So for me, that's another potential big win for Richard Madden, is very much simply, I would like to see another Scot play James Bond. My last reason why Richard Madden could make a really great James Bond, and probably my biggest, is actually his audience appeal. This man can really appeal to an older generation of fans and also a whole new younger generation of fans. He really does have that multi-spread availability and likeness. I think fans who have grown up with him through Game of Thrones, when he was on Game of Thrones, are now getting a bit older, and I know so many people just from that show alone, younger fans and older fans, who just really loved the actor and the character, and then people seeing him in things like The Bodyguard for an older generation again, who really enjoyed him and liked him, and then for a younger crowd seeing him in Internals, whether you like that film or not. He is that person who could unite the older fans and the younger fans in an agreement saying, we really like him, he'd be great as James Bond, we would love him as James Bond. It wouldn't be a divide with younger people going, yeah, it's him, and the older ones going, maybe not. He has that multi-generation appeal, and that I think is a really great plus if you're looking for a next James Bond. Well everyone, that is my list of reasons why I think Richard Madden could potentially make a great James Bond. As I said, he's not really one of my favourites, but I do think there's a legitimate good reasons why he would make a great James Bond. And at the end of the day, if they announce, say in 2024, that Richard Madden is the new James Bond, I'm going to be going, well done, bravo, great choice. Might not have been one of my utter favourites, but I'm really excited about the potential and the possibilities going forward, and I would be still overly really happy with the result. But I want to know, What do you think? Do you like this idea? Do you not like this idea? What are your thoughts on Richard Madden as James Bond? I want to know. Comment down below and tell me your thoughts about this. As always, everyone, my name's Henry Stevens, and this has been The Bond Geek. Goodbye.